Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with the Critters, where we live stream every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, unless otherwise noted. Every Sunday morning, we live stream on a topic in regards to animal behavior, training, or enrichment, and we focus on applied behavior analysis and positive reinforcement. So, for those of you that may be new, welcome back. My name is Laura Joseph, owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We are an international educational center where we live stream to people all over the world and showing them how to empower animals and the people that care for them. So first of all, I just want to say Merry Christmas. Hopefully everybody's having a great holiday. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year. We'll get started next week with a topic on what you want to see and what your plans are for your animals in the new year. Like I said, for those of you that are new, my name is Laura Joseph. If you want to find out more about the work that we do, you can jump on to our website, theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. There you can check out our memberships, our services. We offer live streaming services to people all over the world who want to work with animals. And when we know better, we do better, right? Oh, with that being said, we've got our new sweatshirts with the Know Better, Do Better on our sleeve. We're handing them out to all of the employees and the volunteers this week. So if you want to get in touch with me, you can. You can email me, Laura, Lara, at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. You can also join our email newsletter list, which you will find here on our Facebook page. That way you can keep in touch with wherever we may be live streaming. You can find out what's new with our services. We've got a lot coming up. Please bear with us. We have a workshop we are currently working on putting together. We're getting some animals trained to the point where people can train them, and this will be during our workshops. We're probably looking at February, maybe early mid-March for our next workshop. And as soon as we announce the date of that workshop, we offer it to our level 1 and level 2 members first, so they can get a spot because our workshops sell out very quickly. Our level 1 membership, you can find out on our website, it's our live streaming services annual membership for people with companion animals. Level 2 shows live streaming of an array of different animals that we work with. Podcast, what have you. I will be recording our next podcast next week. I already have a topic in mind, but I do not mind taking, if there's a member that's having a certain problem or question, I will quickly record a podcast that will help if I know it will help the majority of the members. Okay, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. How is everybody doing over the holidays? How are you doing with the animals in your care? Any concerns? Good morning, Tim. Good morning. Oh, wow, we got a lot of people on here. Eva, Maggie, Ray, Shannon, Jennifer, Mark, Katie, Daphne, Lisa, Chantel, Georgia, Pat, Carl. Good morning, everybody. So hopefully everybody had a great holiday and is continuing to have a great holiday. I don't have a recap for you on what we did this last week. I did take a lot of video. We did a lot of training this past week with an array of different animals. I'm also going to be focusing on enrichment. I'm sitting here looking at our enrichment schedule. I've got on here kangaroos, wallabies, bears, primates. Yeah, focusing on enrichment, and that is what we focus on here at the Animal Behavior Center. And enrichment is an arousal of the senses. So we provide a lot of our rich enrichment in through the form of foraging. Majority of our enrichment is based on foraging, but definitely not limited to. Another area of our enrichment that we highly focus on is training, because studies show if you're actually using positive reinforcement training, it is the animal's preferred form of enrichment, and that is for several different reasons. Um, a lot of the animals that we work with are social creatures. So the enrichment that we provide, whether it be through foraging or whether it be through training, is both mentally and physically engaging for the animal. It gives the animal a job to do. It gives them tasks to solve, um, and helps them learn. Okay, helps them continue to learn. So a lot of times when we focus on enrichment, we are looking at what the animal already knows how to do, what behaviors would benefit the animal. And a lot of times animals living in our care are capable of doing more than what they would be able to in the wild, because they don't have to focus on predation. A lot of times the opportunity to reproduce is not there. So and I always say, when you take away one natural behavior from an animal, or the animal does not have the opportunity to engage in that natural behavior, you need to replace it with another behavior. It has to be replaced. If that behavior is not replaced by you, the animal will replace it, and a lot of times it is not what we want the animal to be learning, such as undesired behaviors. And undesired behaviors for me, that I look for in animals, are behaviors that bring about stress, unnecessary stress. A lot of times when we're working, and I just had this conversation with somebody the other day, it's really important when we are training that the animal doesn't become over bonded with us, because that will cause a behavior issue, usually to the point of whether that's excessive vocalization, which can be is stress induced. It can bring about self-injurious behaviors, such as excessive grooming, overpreening, often leads to some type of self-injurious behavior, such as mutilation, which then turns into medical. And once you have a behavior issue that's not addressed, if it turns into a medical issue, now you have an even worse issue. So a lot of times we are training, like as soon as this live stream's done, I am going to be training a couple different things. I'm going to be continuing with target training a red ruff lemur, so I can get the animal to go from point A to point B. I'm going to be continuing nail trims with the hyacinths with Maddie. Would be extremely excited if I would continue my training, my nail trims with that. And I was saying to these people that were walking through the other day, there's a lot of behaviors that I need to do to animals for their health. Now, I can either capture them and force them to do these behaviors, or I can train them where we work as a team, myself and the animal, or animals, plural, to want to do the behaviors that I need to have done. And that is what I do. I prepare for a lot of husbandry, grooming, and vet prep behaviors. If I have the luxury of training tricks, I will. Like Coco's little trick of turning his head back and forth real quick. That's just something funny that he does when we train tricks. My good friend Vicky Ronchetti, professional dog trainer out there in Oakland, California, she made a comment to me years ago, which I was like, yeah, I like that. Training tricks helps us fine tune our training and our approaches. And a key, one tip I give to people is whenever you find your animal doing something that you don't want it to do and you find yourself wanting to say no, if you want to fine tune your technique, try to take out the word no and then redirect that behavior with a behavior, a desirable behavior that you can then reinforce that instead. So a lot of people may not think that saying the word no is a big deal, but it can be an aversive. It can be something the animal doesn't like, and it can cause frustration on the animal's behalf because what do you want it to do instead? A lot of people will say no and not give their animal the opportunity to give another behavior for the opportunity to earn reinforcement. So let me take a look at some of the things that you guys are saying. And if you have any questions or want to make comments about behavior issues that you have or have seen during the holidays, that is the topic of today's live stream. Tim says Quadamundi training here, and it's amazing how much you can change behavior with the proper training techniques. Isn't that the truth, Tim? Daphne out there in Iowa, professional dog trainer, says, I help my clients find similar activities that were legal for their dog to do. Texture, weight, size, substrate, etc. Just taught Hannah to use her new winter dog house. Good. And like I say, a lot of times, if that animal can see, hear, smell, or feel you, you are training it. The key question is, what are you training it to do? So a couple of, and I have 2 podcasts out there. It's our podcasts are in our level 1 and level 2 membership. They're hour-long podcasts that go into detail on the science of behavior, why behaviors happen, how to change behavior. But there was 2 podcasts I put out there that focus on animals in the holidays. Good morning, Sylvia. Good morning, Therese. And one of them is during the holidays, we have people into our house, usually a more amount of people. And those people that come into our house are training your animals, whether you realize it or not. And a lot of times they are training undesired behaviors. I know Rachel here said once she listened to the podcast, she was like, "Oop, now I understand the importance of when I go into somebody else's house that I am actually training their animal." And the key point there is once you leave, the people that live in the house then have to live with the undesired behaviors that you have reinforced, such as feeding dogs underneath the table. Okay? Behavior doesn't lie. I know. I have it in my own house. My husband used to feed all 3 dogs his dinner every single night. And I would say he knew it upset me, but he didn't care that it upset me. Because one thing I don't like when I go into somebody's house is a jumping dog or a dog resting its head on my knee that's drooling for food. That isn't aversive to me. So when people come over to my house and they eat and they're in the house of a professional animal training and I have 3 dogs sitting there begging and drooling. So I didn't need to modify the behavior of my dogs. I needed to modify the behavior of my husband, which I failed. Because he was the reinforcer of all kinds of undesired behaviors. But undesired, the key question is, the key word is undesired. It's undesired by me. It wasn't undesired by my husband. He didn't care if there was dog hair floating around his food or drool on his knee. Yeah, so sounds like the expert untrainer husband. Yeah. And many people live with those. And I got a phone call. Was it Christmas Eve? From a shelter which wants to focus on modifying behavior of a particular dog. And a lot of times, when I'm working with a person, I need to know they are vested in the time that it's going to take to change behavior. Because if not, then I don't want to waste my time, because I've got a lot of people that need and want my time, and I will focus my time and attention on them. Those are the people that are in level 1, level 2, and the projects, which are species specific, such as the Parrot Project. If you are willing to take the time that it takes to better the lives of the animals and the people that care for them, then I will give you my all. But one thing I asked her was, are you guys very serious about changing this behavior? Do you have the time? Who's going to be involved with this dog? Are all of these people going to have the time? Because then comes the concern of the inconsistency between the people interacting with the animal, no matter what species. So a lot of times people will say, this animal is very unpredictable. If I have somebody that tells me an animal is unpredictable, then I am going to say your animal is acting or showing behaviors of unpredictability because it's interacted with unpredictably. Your behavior, the behavior, say I'm asking a deaf dog to sit, or a bird to fly to my hand. When I watch what I'm doing and then I ask somebody else to do that, how we behave can be so different. So for example, we had a behavior issue here develop several years ago, and it was our deaf dog. He started barking excessively, and I was like, what is going on? So when I ask our deaf dog to sit, it is a quick, like this. I'm not going like this. I'm not doing this. I am going like this. My fingers bend at the knuckles, straight up in the air. This means sit. Because the reason this is important is because this means bark. I kind of do a really fast, like, give it to me. This means bark. Well, what I was seeing is some other people were asking him to sit, but they were going like this. So they weren't going like this, the bark, and they weren't going like this, the sit. They were going like this. And in the beginning, the behavior of sitting wasn't happening. So the people were going like this more and more. And if you look at this from the perspective of the dog, you're asking him to sit, and he gives the behavior. Okay, no. You're asking him, he wasn't sure what this was, because this is this means bark. This means sit. So he was getting confused, and he was giving one behavior, but it wasn't the behavior that the person thought they were asking. So reinforcement didn't come to the dog. So the dog started offering different behaviors, and he was just like, is this what you want? Is this what you want? And then he finally earned reinforcement for the behavior. And then the barking started increasing, and I was like, what the heck is going on? So I started looking around how everybody was communicating with this deaf dog, and I was like, bingo, there's it. That's it. So that's a failure on my part by not showing or paying close attention to how everybody interacts with the dog. And here at the center, we're training several of our animals very heavily. And I had a meeting last week after Coffee with the Critters ended, and I was very specific. I said, if you guys want to be involved in the training, you have to pay very close attention. When I'm working with a prey animal, I never walk behind that animal's back. I never walk behind that animal's back, because that is a threat. A lot of prey animals don't have eyes on the back of their head, and as soon as you move behind it, the animal has to turn to watch you. I never move behind a prey animal's back until I've developed a really good relationship with that animal, to the point where the animal knows I'm not going to force it and it can trust me. Eva says, I have a non-holiday question, if that's permissible. Well, let's see. I will be having surgery soon. Circumstances will require my fostering my birds during my hospitalization and recovery. What can I do to prepare them for this time away from me and away from each other? That's a great question. It's not on topic, but we can make it on topic, because that happens a lot with boarding when animals are boarded during the holidays. So this can be a very stressful time if an animal is moved, boom, with no training. So Eva, one of the things I could tell you is get your birds used to different people coming into the house. Keep them used to change. Different people coming into the house is a form of change, but we can incorporate change in a lot of different ways, because having people come to your house is not easy. I know. I don't usually have a lot of different people coming to my house, and I have 3 dogs in my house, and now I have an Amazon in my house, so I've got to figure out how that's going to work. There's many ways you can keep your animals used to change, because when animals are not used to change and they live in a stagnant, non-changing environment, that can bring a lot of stress. Any small change, such as a bag of groceries sitting on the table, can incorporate stress to an animal that is not used to change. That's why here, if we have animal enclosures, one quick way of incorporating change is just every day move them 1 enclosure to the left. If we have animals that aren't in enclosures, we can incorporate different people. We can train. You can train different things. Enrichment, providing the same old enrichment can be extremely boring. And studies show that with predictability comes boredom. That is involved in our training as well. When we're constantly training the same damn thing over and over, that is predictable and it is boring. And a lot of times you'll see your animal stand up and walk away, or stand up and fly away from a training session, because this is boring. Been there, done that, next. If you think about all of the enrichment and choices we as humans and animal caretakers, we have a lot of choices. Even if your animal is not in an enclosure, if it's in your house, if it's in a building, that's an enclosure, okay? It still has 4 walls and a roof. And my point in saying this is their choices are limited. And with enrichment, we can empower animals. We can build their confidence. We give them more choices. I have a stack of papers because I'm getting ready to provide a lecture to Ohio State University's veterinary students in, I think, about 3 weeks down in Columbus, Ohio. So these veterinary students are the future of the animal medical team. And if I know Ohio State is one of the top rated universities for their veterinary program. So each year I lecture to them, and I've got this one time to get a point across at how important enrichment is, and teaching them that no matter what we're doing, we are training this animal. And I ask them to help me get the word out to people that vet visits do not have to be stressful for the animal. Training can be fun. You're training your animal anyways, and it's never, ever too early to start training. If that animal can see, hear, smell, or feel you, you're already training. The key question is, what are you training it to do? So I love to train. It empowers me when I can empower animals and see their confidence boosted. And if I'm training an animal for a vet visit, just training them for a bodily examination, and then training them to allow somebody else to examine their body, and then training them to go outside of the building, to go at different areas of the building, to go into the car. This can all be fun, enriching experience for that animal. A vet visit, if you guys follow the work that we do with Rocky, there's a reason I don't train Rocky to let me trim his nails. Rocky is a parrot. It's because he enjoys the vet visit. Now, enjoying the vet visit is something I trained him to do. He loves his veterinarian. He loves his vet tech. So every 3 months, we head to the vet, and Rocky gets a nail trim and a great outing. So some of the other comments, let's see. Some of the other comments, yeah, Lisa said, someone told me a long time ago that we create our own monsters. Absolutely, we do. And if people say the stupid dog, the untrained parrot, that is a reflection of the person caring for it. So if the dog is stupid, it's because the caretaker is not teaching it anything else. And it's probably learning it on its own anyways. And Margie brings up a great question. Is a prey animal an animal who hunts or is hunted? That's a great question, because we often refer to it as an animal that is hunted. But I sit here and try to think of any animal. So you have prey and predator. I sit here and try to think of any animal that is not a predator. Any animal hunts something. What is it? Okay. And Wendy also says hunted prey animals have eyes on the sides of their head, parrots, horses, etc. Whereas a lot of your predators have eyes facing forward. Prey have eye facing sideways, so they can have more of a view all the way around them. Does that make sense? So next week's topic is going to be, I want to hear from you on things you guys want to see in this new year, people you want to see me interview, how I can bring more information to you here in Coffee with the Critters, because I bring that in a wide variety of ways. We have different topics every week. And if you've liked what you've seen here today and heard here today, take a look at our memberships, level 1 and level 2. You can find them on our website, theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. It's annual live streaming services that involve podcasts, live streams, interviews with professionals. We also have annual subscriptions that are species specific. The Parrot Project is one that is extremely popular. We also have our webinars, which we have an array of different topics, species specific or just understanding behavior. We have topics on enrichment. We also have gift certificates that are still available. We've had plenty of people purchase our gift certificates over the holidays. So if you have not yet purchased a gift for an animal lover on your list, and you think they would really enjoy this approach, my approach in training and watching my live stream of training, and in my live streams, you will watch me. If I'm struggling, I post, hey, I'm struggling with a situation. I'm going to be live streaming. And I show you how I work through it. I show you my mistakes, and I show you how I recover from those mistakes. We also have group discussions. We also have our referral program. So I originally designed these for shelters, but definitely not limited to. For every 5 people that you refer to the Animal Behavior Center that signs up for one of our memberships or projects, you get a 1-hour free online consultation with me. And with that being said, I want to thank you, and I will see you next Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Thank you, everybody that joined, and Happy New Year, everybody. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I will see you next week.